Hi, everyone. My name is Philip Salvador, and I'm here with my friend Francisco, and we're just kind of have a conversation about OT and outside the clinical setting. So I'm going to have Francisco introduce himself and welcome Francisco to chatting with us.
Thank you, Philip. Thanks for having me. And I'm really looking forward to having this conversation with you. And hello to our fellow OT practitioners who are watching this right now. Oh, I'm Francisco Lasta. I'm an OT here in Chicago, but my current role is as a marketing strategist for an architecture and design firm. It's called Muller 2 or M2, and we specialize in designing public spaces. I use my OT background and my training in user experience to lead our inclusive design initiative because we want our current projects to be like more accessible, can be experienced and can be enjoyed by a diverse group of people, regardless of their abilities or identities.
Wow, that sounds like a really an amazing opportunity. It really piques my interest of how did you get started in that? Because that doesn't sound like oh, there's an OT position opening at M2 for inclusive design. So
Yeah, so I've worked in a variety of settings before I joined M2. I was in the clinical practice for more than a decade. So I practiced in pediatrics to geriatrics, from school-based to rehab setting to skilled nursing facility and community setting. And I really enjoyed working hands-on with my patients. But it was during the pandemic that I became more introspective about the things that I would still want to be able to do, and I've always been captivated by the role of design in our day-to-day experience. And in fact, at one point when I was still in the clinical setting, I delved into the use of 3D printing when it comes to designing splints, adaptive devices. I designed virtual and augmented reality experiences for my patients. And I've always loved architecture, and I feel lucky to live in a city like Chicago, which is an architecturally rich place to be in. I was already familiar with the outstanding work that M2 has been doing in the city. So when the opportunity came for me to join M2, I jumped at the opportunity, even if it meant giving up my role as an OT. But luckily, it was a hard decision because OT has been a huge part of myself, of my identity, having done it for many, many years. But luckily, I was able to develop skill set that is beyond my clinical expertise as an OT that really helped me transition into the new role. And I think another important thing that really helped a lot is M2's supportive culture. I clearly saw that they are committed to having a diverse team, and they really value diverse and unique perspectives. And that really resonated with me, coming from an AAPI background.
hmm,
So that's how I got started as a marketing strategist. Now, my role in our inclusive design initiative developed over time, but it started when I joined our DEI group. It's a venue where we get to discuss diversity, equity, and inclusion issues that affects our organization. And I later volunteered to draft our DEI's strategic plan. And it was then that I saw that there is a need for our organization to extend our DEI efforts outside the walls of our organization. And I felt that we really have to make it intentionally reflect the projects that we do, so that all the structures that we build would clearly show the DEI values that we've been internally cultivating in the organization.
wow.
So, and as an OT, I also saw it firsthand when I was in the clinical setting, you know, uh, while working in community. I was, recommending home modifications, helping patients regain their independence, safely navigating their home environment, and they're able to achieve, that level of independence. But when it comes to venturing outside the home environment, it's a different story, because a lot of the environmental features doesn't really support their needs. And that's why I suggested to the group that I think we really need to put more focus in designing our projects with more inclusivity in mind. So there is a critical gap when it comes to designing our public spaces. And when you look around, there are many design spaces that limit access to, you know, that limits a certain segment of our population's access to, you know, enjoy these public spaces. And I think that having an occupational therapist in an architecture team would really have a much more informed decision when it comes to designing that space, because we have the expertise when it comes to human performance, the role of the environment in supporting a person's ability to become competent in one's environment.
Yeah. I love that. And what I love about your perspective and what you're even doing is that sometimes we, even like the DEI initiatives, we talk about, change and how do we become more inclusive, diverse, equitable in all our practices. But you're kind of really taking it even a step further into the physical environment, which is something like maybe a lot of us don't even think about. Like, okay, we can have conversations and work through issues and whatnot. But then like the physical presence, I mean, that is just to me so fascinating. I hope it sparks ideas and even other OTs that are watching this. Like, how do we even translate, ideas into the physical realm? Tell me a
Yeah.
little bit about what a typical day looks like for you.
So my schedule can vary from day to day, which keeps things exciting. Uh, I get to work with different levels in the organization, from senior leadership to our junior design team and everything in between. My favorite part is leading strategic planning sessions with cross-functional teams, whether it's doing a series of SWOT analysis sessions to review and refine our long-term business goals, or working with a production company to come up with a brand video that clearly conveys the message of what we do. I also, as far as my inclusive design part, I conduct a series of educational training sessions to the design team just to have a fuller understanding of what it means in terms of like the different design phases of our projects, make sure that each of those phases, there is an inclusive design activity that's happening to ensure that it really is present in like the entirety of the whole process. So, and that's basically how my day looks like. Again, it varies from day to day. So sometimes it's a completely different thing.
Yeah, yeah. Do you mind sharing a little bit, maybe a project that you are working on or have completed that kind of, you know, incorporates the OT skills that you had talked about earlier that you use, your experiences that helps contribute to this product that you have now, that your team's
Yeah,
working
so we don't have a completed project with my input yet.
on?
However, we do all these like design charrettes for our current projects that are not built yet. So
Mm-hmm.
one of the projects would be an inclusive design bathroom. So I provided my input coming from an OT perspective, like what accessibility features should be there, considering other aspects such as neurodiversity, our need for privacy when we're in an environment like that. And there are other projects as well, such as we did some brainstorming about a particular transportation hub here in Illinois. I also provided feedback on that. And then it's really amazing how the architects and designers are really kind of open to suggestions coming from an OT. And I really feel, that I'm contributing something different to the
Yeah,
table.
yeah. And what you're all communicating to what I'm gathering anyways is that these projects take time, and it takes
Yes.
time and effort and that input, even though, sometimes we as practitioners are like looking for that immediate sort of impact, but sometimes it takes a lot of collaboration with different partners, especially in a non-traditional setting. Like, it just doesn't happen overnight. There's a lot of time and effort. And then, but like you said, like your efforts, your contributions are going to make sort of this long-term impact for everyone that is interacting in these spaces, not just a select group, but everyone. So which just sounds amazing. So Francisco, maybe my last question I have for you is thinking about what advice would you give OTs interested in pursuing sort of a non-clinical path?
So I think it's about really identifying what your passion is. And then if it aligns with the things that you do as an OT, I think that could really sustain you, even if you have certain challenges along the way. For example, like myself, my passion is about like design. I really am fascinated with, all the different things that are designed that affects our day-to-day living, and that is like in clear alignment with the things that we do as OTs, right? Like we not only design environments for patients to be independent, but also design certain activities that are therapeutic for the patient.
Mm,
So I have an awareness of those two things, and I developed certain skills that could go beyond that to be able to use it in a different setting. So from a clinical setting, how can I make use of these skills in a design setting? So I think that ability to translate that body of knowledge is is transformative, because it could spur innovation in a way.
yeah, it just makes you more dynamic too. When you're thinking about whatever that you're going to pursue and you just learn a different skill set. I just, even for myself, I think about like I did OT, but I went into educational leadership, and then but those are two different things, but yet you can combine sort of so much, and so like that's what you're doing as well.
Right, especially for us OTs, like in our academic training, we're already primed to wear so many hats.
Yeah.
So when it comes to learning new things, it's just so easy to pick up and use our ability to analyze activities, analyze performance, analyze an environment. Those
Yeah.
are the things that we regularly analyze on a day-to-day basis. Like when you think about it, we probably have spent so many hours, thousands of hours analyzing those things in with the goal of making our patients or a person function better.
That's right. That's right. Sorry, I'm going to ask you another question because I mean, honestly, you're sparking so many thoughts within me, but like, sorry, this will promise to be my last question. But like,
Okay.
how do you get support in this? Because it's I'm not, I don't know a lot of OTs that work in as a marketing strategist for an architectural firm. So how do you get support in helping your skill set even grow even further?
So I actually don't wait for support. I initiate it. I initiate my own learning, but I also show to my team members the importance uh, of my skill set in the projects that we do. So it is about educating your team members about the unique skills that you can offer them that would really be helpful, if of course they will include you in whatever project that they're doing. And again, like as I mentioned earlier, uh, M2 is really a diverse kind of organization,
Mm,
and I think it's easier to do that when you feel respected and valued, and when your input is taken seriously, and knowing that there is value to it.
yeah. Ooh, that could be a whole nother topic on work culture and environment, mission, vision, all that stuff. But I hope it sparks everyone's minds of like considering sort of the environment that you might be in. Is that accepted? Would your ideas be fostered and pursued? So really insightful information there. So, but Francisco, thank you so much for taking the time to be with us, to share such a unique role. And honestly, I'm looking forward to seeing the work that you and M2 are going to do. I'm sure it's going to just change millions of people's lives interacting with different environments around Chicago, and hopefully expands worldwide. That would be amazing,
Well,
right?
we do have an office here in Chicago, but we also have an office in
Oh,
Dallas and Peoria, and we're looking at opening offices in other locations in the United States as well.
oh,
But I really hope that more and more OTs can get into this field, because the world would just be a better place if everywhere you go, you felt like you're able to navigate the environment, you feel included, because it's designed with you in mind.
yeah,
No matter what your abilities, identities, uh, it's just a better place
yeah,
when OTs provide their input to architects and designers. So I
amazing.
invite everyone.
Yes, yes. It sounds like you're going to be creating a PD or sharing at a conference, right?
Maybe we'll
Maybe,
see.
yeah. We'll see. We'll see. Well, Francisco, thank you so much. Thank you, sir, everyone else, to tuning in, and have a great day.